What does the attack on Israel mean for Ukraine? And did Western intelligence really not see it coming? I find it hard to believe Western intelligence didn't see it coming. I'm gonna try to use a variety of different sources from left leaning to right leaning to help prove this idea I have about how Hamas duped Israel as it planned a devastating attack. Hamas built a mock Israel town in Gaza and practiced its attack in plain sight, but Israel didn't react, for say. How did Israel and the U.S. miss what Hamas was planning? Is Israel the 9/11? Our 9/11 Israel ambassador to the U.S. discusses reaction to Hamas. I feel like the reason they're trying to make this seem like they're 9/11 is the same reason that they didn't see this coming because they allowed this to happen because they wanted to have like a rally cry for something to happen, cry behind, so they could finally go to war with Palestine because right after America had 9/11, we had 9/12 when American patriotism was as high as it's ever been. So they have their 9/11, now they can have their 9/12, which they rally their citizens to be behind their cause no matter what. And that's like will make them fight even stronger for their country. That's my idea behind this. Well, what does the war in Israel have to do with anything with Russia and Ukraine? All right, follow me. Hamas received weapons and training from Iran, officials say. Russia is providing unprecedented military support to Iran in exchange for drones, officials say. This partnership poses a threat not just to Ukraine but to Iran's neighbors in the region. A full-fledged defense partnership with Russia, with weapons and military expertise flowing in both directions, the officials say. If you know what's going on, that means Iran and Russia's partnership is becoming stronger. White House say Iran is helping Russia build a drone factory east of Moscow for the war in Ukraine. Yeah, Russia and Iran getting even closer. Think who Iran's partners are. Russia cites concern but does not condemn Hamas's attack on Israel. This should explain it why, because they have not just a military interest but an economic interest. Russia may not be directly sending Hamas money, but they're using means to like help cover up where stuff is coming from, mixing their oils together to help cover up to help exchange money and oil to support Hamas and Iranian I forgot what this is, but it's basically like an Iranian military for the like their regional religion or something like that, and Hamas and Hezbollah right there also fighting together. So that means, and that's also in Syria, which you know who's also fighting in Syria? Russia. You know who's Russia's side with? I believe it's Assad, and Assad and Hezbollah and Hassan is all fighting the same side. So they're technically are helping each other out. And you have Iran and stuff like that, which is Assad. Oh snap! What's going on? Then you have Assad's biggest partners in Assad's biggest partner in Syria is Iran. They're trying to keep that going on. So Hezbollah, Hamas, Russia, they're all kind of linked together. Treasury sanctioned oil shipping network supplying IRGC, QF, and Hezbollah. Let me figure out the acronym for y'all, so I don't sound retarded to continue talking about this. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quad Forces, Quad Forces. I don't know how to pronounce that word. This is not exactly similar to the army of Iran because the army of Iran is meant to protect our Iran itself, and this is supposed to protect the like like Islamic interests and stuff like that, or like I think like forgot if they're Shia or Sunni, but it's supposed to be like whatever side they're protecting. They're protecting one side, or they're fighting for one side or the other. Forgot which side they're fighting for though. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just a pattern recognizer, critical thinker, and problem solver. That's what I do for a living. That's what I do for a living. I recognize patterns, I think critically, and I solve problems. That's all day what I do at work. And some patterns start recognize is, hey yo, the pattern of the next forever war. So Treasury's targeted oil smuggling network generating hundreds of billions of dollars for Quad forces and Hezbollah. So basically, it's this right here, how they're trying to give Iran and Russia is basically wherever the oil is coming from. They're kind of forging documents, relying on documents, making documents legible, mixing their oil with other oils as they transport to other countries and stuff like that. So basically they're trying to get around sanctions and still fund themselves without America and other countries like knowing that trying to put sanctions on Russia and Iran. And that money and that oil is still gonna be used to help fund Hezbollah and Hamas. This is what you got in Syria, so you know who's gonna be on what side in Israel. You got Iran, Russia, and Hezbollah all together. So when Hamas need help, they're gonna come in, and you got U.S. is gonna be on the side of daggone Israel. I'm not gonna lie, this, this thing seemed kind of weird and hectic, and I'm like, the way this whole thing is designed is like no wonder there's never gonna be peace in the Middle East. It's like it's not designed to do that because ISIS came from the ISIS used to be part of the rebels. Then they broke off from the rebels, started fighting everybody else, and just trying to take over everything. And then you have America fund helping out the Kurds and the rebels, and then that seems crazy. And then you have Turkey. Turkey's bombing the Kurds, but not bombing ISIS, and like that's like weird how like Turkey it's just a whole bunch of people like why that person's helping that country? Why is that country helping that country? And they're supposed to be our allies, which doesn't make sense to me. Turkey doesn't make sense to me at all. Turkey is funding the side that we're funding, the Syrian opposition force, which is supposed to be fighting against the Syrian government, Assad, Russia, Iran, and Iraq. But Turkey is also unofficially funding the side that we're fighting against, which is pretty much ISIS and another terrorist group. I don't know if it's a terrorist. This is another group that we're fighting against because we're funding we're funding the Kurds and the Syrian opposition, and they're secretly funding these two. And this is why there's no peace in the Middle East because we have countries that are on both sides just trying to fund the war, just to fund the war. It seems like this war is just designed to just be this new forever war because hey yo, Biden got out of daggone Afghanistan. Lots of weapons from Afghanistan, all the stuff that we have in Afghanistan are gonna end up inside Israel. They end up being used on both sides in Israel. They end up being used against they might even probably end up being used against daggone the Ukrainians. To be honest, like and watch the weapons that were given to Ukrainians end up going to Israel. The weapons were given to Ukrainians, the weapons given to Ukrainians going to daggone Israel from both sides from the Ukraine. Watch because you have the Ukraine military already saying Wagner mercenaries are involved in training Hamas and military for the operation against Israel. If they do this ahead of time and didn't tell the allies, pretty much everybody knew this was going to happen, but they wanted it to happen so Israel could have their rally cries to get their citizens behind them so they could have their 9/12 after their 9/11 because that was the most important thing so they could do their attack against Hamas and like people were like, yeah, fuck them. And it's already like Russia gave captured U.S. weapons to Hamas as a ploy to undermine Ukraine. Reports say that was from the Business Insider, and the other one was from Yahoo. So Ukraine's already trying to get the propaganda out. So like, hey yo, don't forget about us. Yo, they're gonna try to lie on us. Like we already know both Russia and Ukraine are the number one and two top most corrupt country in Russia, and not in Russia, but in Europe. The number one and two top most corrupt countries in the European continent is Russia and then Ukraine. If you don't believe me, you could Google it and it'll show up just like that. Russia, Ukraine, one, two. But hey, yo, no one believe me. World War III started in 2014. World War III started in 2014, bro. That's my guess when World War III started. 2014. So what was the whole idea I had behind this is that the whole reason that this attack in Israel happened was because Russia and Iran are allies. Iran funds and trains Hamas, but not directly for that attack. Hamas say, "Oh, they attack on their own," and they take credit for it. That keeps Russia's hand and Iran's hand clean out of any attack involved in Israel. So now when this attack is involved, so now after the attack in Israel, America's interest is going to shift from Ukraine to Israel because Russia's now in a defensive position, and we already have like Russia's in a defensive position. Ukraine's being the funds for Ukraine currently being stalled because what's going on in Congress. They can't get they don't know what they want to do. So this is the best time for something to get America's eyes off Ukraine and onto somewhere else. And because this country has a more chance of actually doing something and actually fighting a war for a long time because they actually have the population, the capabilities, and the self reliance. They only need to be funded by every other country in the world just to have a chance to lose slowly against Russia or slowly against another country. Because to be honest, Ukraine's gonna lose. What they have the land bridge to Crimea. What like they have the they have all the oil they're gonna need. What other interests do they have? The fields. They already bombed the crap out of the country. So what are where are they gonna grow the field on? What are they gonna use the field for? They're gonna have to renovate the field first, and then come in there and plant stuff. So it makes sense to like, hey yo, while another country renovates the field, we're gonna chill out, build up our defense that we already have because hey yo, they got their defense pretty much on like they have what 3 layers or something like that, and Ukrainians say they break through pretty much order they actually just make a little bridge through, not really any significant gains. And Russia just hey yo, we're chilling, building up stockpile resources, continuing playing on the defense because when you're on the defense, you take less casualties, and you need more casualties for the off. You need more troops on the offensive. I was a pogue in the military, so I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is just shit I heard on YouTube. So all right. So America's interest shift from Ukraine and into Israel because we already seen what I think it was a carrier group or just a carrier. I believe the whole carrier group, and so we're gonna start spending, giving them, hey yo, here's some money because Ukraine, we about to, hey yo, we want to sign a treaty, Russia. Watch in the next couple months or the next couple weeks, it's gonna be talks about treaty time. In the next couple weeks, because of the war in Israel, and everyone's eyes are gonna start shifting to hearing how we could use this to secretly fund people because Russia's gonna be trying to secretly fund Hamas, Hezbollah. They're gonna try to secretly fund the ones in Dagon, they're gonna try to secretly fund the ones in Lebanon, the ones in Syria, and then everyone's gonna start trying to attack in Israel, and Israel got the defense of the back, and Israel got the backing of the West to help them out. So this is pretty much how World War III is gonna slide down to. Let me show y'all again. This is kind of how I believe it's gonna slide down to. It's gonna be similar to the war in Syria. It's gonna be how it is gonna be for Israel. You're gonna have Russia, Iran, and Iraq, Hezbollah, what is it? Lebanon and stuff. Other countries out there are gonna be secretly or right directly helping out the Palestinians, and America in the West are gonna be helping out Dagon Israel, either directly, indirectly by sending special forces to do capture prisoners and stuff like that. That's direct involvement. So they're gonna probably start putting boots on the ground, and they're so pretty much this side right here is gonna be the same size. I believe it might break down into for Israel. It might be a little bit different because I'm not an expert in this. This is stuff I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But hey, I just found that a little interesting that that the war is going on right now while Ukraine is on the offensive and Russia's in the defensive, and Russia's like Russia wants to sign a treaty right now. So the best way for Russia to get to a treaty signed is for a war somewhere else to get American interest and eyes away from Ukraine. That's what I believe. The war in not Ukraine, but the war in Israel is occurring because Russia wanted uh American interests to get away from Israel. Russia wanted American interests, American money, American military resources to get away from funding their enemy to funding somewhere else, so that they could build up their defenses and more solidify the Donbass as being part of Ukraine and more solidify new um the new border being drawn and say, hey yo, if y'all want to sign a contract, it's now or we're taking the whole country because the West is gonna start to fight to fund somewhere else. Fund somewhere else. But hey yo, I'm out of here. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe.
And we're out of here like a screaming herd of turtles.